Okay, good morning, guys. Welcome back. Week 3, day 1. Today we're going to see a new topic that is completely related to our last topic, which was ratios and proportions. As usual, we're going to leave an empty space for the topic's name, and then we're going to place the date. Today is January 17th, 2022. So we have several definitions that we need to take into account. The first one is percent. What is a percent? The percent is a part of an original amount expressed in hundreds. Okay. The symbol used is this little symbol over here, which means percent or percentage. The percent of change, what is it? It is the ratio of the amount of change to the original amount expressed as a percent. So expressed as a symbol. Okay. The percent of decrease. It is the percent of change found when the original amount decreases. Usually it is used in discounts. So for example, right now in December, that Yunsa, Lady Lee, and almost every other big store was giving discounts. What they did was to find the percent of decrease. Okay, the percent, 20% of decrease was a discount. Percent of increase, the percent of change found when the original amount increases. Okay, when it increases, usually it is used in markups or taxes. For example, when we go to a restaurant and they ask us to add the tax, the 15% tax, then we find the percent of increase. Also, when some stores decide to place new prices, what they do is to add a percent of increase to the original price. So that is the percent of increase. And those are the 4 definitions that we need today. On the first example that I'm going to give you over here, this one over here, we have the grades of someone. Okay, someone had those grades in the 4th partial. We found that in partial 1, that student got an 85. Partial 2, that student got a 77. Partial 3, since it is the longest one, that student took advantage of the time and presented almost everything and got a 91. And in partial 4, that student said, I think that I already passed. So I'm just going to relax myself. And that student got 50 out of 100. So now we need to find a percent in order to determine if the student actually passed or not the math class. In this case, where you have all of the grades of the 4 partials that the student got, the only thing that you actually need to do is to find a mean. Okay, the percent in this case, the average in this case will be the mean. That's why we saw first the measures of central tendency, then we saw proportions, and now we're seeing percent, because that way we will be able to find the average of your grade. Okay, so what should we do when it is the mean? We add all of the values. In this case, when it is the mean, we do not need for it to be in order from the smallest to the greatest. In this case, we can go ahead and just add, because it is the median, the one that needs the values to be in order, not the mean. So we add them all up and we divide by 4. So we're going to say 85 plus 77. How much is that? That's 165, right? Plus 162 plus 91, that is 253, plus 50, that is 303. So 303 divided by 4. So we are going to see if that student actually passed his math class and with what average. In this case, his percent of the grade or the average is 75.75. So that student passed with rounding up a 76% of grade. This is a percent, even though what we found was the mean, okay? Even though it is the mean is an average, the mean is a percentage as well. Okay, so this is one way of finding when you have all of the values. Now, in this other case, the second exercise, we are going to use proportions, okay? And we're going to use the rule of 3. Why the rule of 3? Because we know 3 values and then 1 is unknown. We are going to the movie theaters. We're going to go to see a VIP movie. In Cinepolis, we're going to go to the VIP room, movie theater. It costs 220 lempiras, if I'm not mistaken, okay? But we're going with our grandparents or with our mother, father, or aunt, or whoever is elderly age. What does that mean? Tercera edad. So that person's gonna buy a ticket with an elderly age discount. El descuento a la tercera edad. So do you guys know how much is the discount for the elder people? How much do they give usually as a discount? Because in the movie theaters, it is more, but usually how much it is? Do you know how much is the elderly age discount?
10%.
No, it is not the 10%. Usually 10% is for tips, for propina. But for the elderly age?
50%.
50%, it usually is a 50% for movie theaters, but I'm talking about like the common discount. And it's not 50. 50 is only for movie theaters. It's 25 to 25%. So every single time that a grandparent or mother that's elderly age goes and asks for a discount, let's say for food, it is a 25%. In the pharmacies and drugstores, well, they say that they give a 30%, but they don't usually give it, okay? And if it's Wednesday, they say they give a 40 or a 44, but that's not true. But the very real percent is the 25% of discount, okay? So we are gonna find the 25% discount of 220. How do we do that? Always, we're gonna have two fractions and an equal sign, a proportion. In one side, we're gonna have the percentages. What is the greatest percentage that we can have? What represents the total amount? What is the greatest grade that you can get? That would be how much? 100. So the 100% always goes over here. 100 represents the total amount, the whole, okay? So at the top, we're going to place whatever discount or percent we're looking for. In this case, we're looking for the 25%. So we're going to place 25%. Now we're going to pair it up one next to the other about the money or about whatever we're finding the percent of. Okay, so the total amount is 100, right? What is the total amount of money that the movie theater cost? 220. So we're going to place the total with the total. Total goes right next to the total. 100% is the total. 220 is the total. And we're going to find how much is the discount of the 25%. Since I don't know, I'm using a variable. I'm going to use a variable D for discount. You can use whichever letter you want, okay? And what do we do now? We solve it like we know to solve proportions with the rule of 3 or multiplying extremes with extremes and means with means. And what do we get? We get 100 times D, that is 100D, equals 25 times 220. And this is the multiplication that we are supposed to do. But it is easier for us to not multiply it yet. Okay, let's pass and leave the variable completely unknown. So let's pass that 100 to the other side with its opposite operation. In this case, a division. Okay, so we're going to divide. D is equal to 25 times 220. everything divided by 100. Now, remember, when we have zeros in the numerator and zeros in the denominator, we can go ahead and cancel them out. So I just canceled them out, the zeros. As many amounts of zeros that I have in both parts, I can also cancel. Since there's no more zero in the numerator, I cannot cancel this other zero that I have. I can only cancel one. So I'm gonna have left what? We got D is equal to 25 times 22, because that zero got canceled, everything divided by 10. Now we're going to use cross simplification. This that we did over here, this was cross product. Okay, now we are going to use cross simplification, and I'm gonna simplify the 25 and the 10. By what number can I simplify 25 and 10? By 5. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to divide by 5. So I'm going to say D is equal to 25 divided by 5 times the 22. 10 divided by 5, that is 2. Let's see if we can continue to multiply, just cross simplify. Can we simplify the 5 and the 2? No. But what about the 22 and the 2? Yes, we can simplify that by 2. So what do we have now? We got D is equal to 5, I didn't do nothing. 22 divided by 2, that's 11. And 2 divided by 2, that is 1. Now that I cannot do more cross simplification because 5 and 1 cannot be simplified and 11 and 1 cannot be simplified, I go ahead and multiply. 5 times 11, that's 55. Do I need a denominator 1? Do I need a 1 as a denominator? I don't, right? I don't need a 1 as a denominator. So what do? I just leave it as 55. So what does that mean? It means that the 25% of 220 is 55. Okay, there's another way to do it. I'm going to show you with the calculator. Okay, I'm going to show you with the calculator how we do it with a calculator, but you're not allowed to do it right now. So we want to know the 25% of 220. So we place 220 times 0.25. And what does it give you? It gives you the 55 that you just found. This method, this procedure can only be used with certain amounts, with certain problems, actually, not certain amounts, certain problems, okay? So this is the 25% of 220. So our grandparent, our grandmother, our mom, our dad, whoever is elder age, will be paying 220 minus the 55%. Why minus? Because it is a discount. Discount decreases, so you subtract. If it was a markup, you add, okay? In this case, we subtract. So 220 minus 55, that person is going to pay 165 lempiras only. Okay, and that's how we find the elder discount. Questions about the proportion and the use of the rule of 3, cross product, cross simplification? Okie dokie. Let's find another exercise. Second exercise up there at the top of the screen says 20 is the 15% of what? Okay, so what are you going to do? Let's use it in blue. Okay, again, we're going to have a proportion, so a fraction. Always at the bottom, we're going to have the 100%. And they're saying on top of the 100, which is a percent, we're going to have another percent. Do we have another percent in the exercise? Yes, the 15. So we're going to place 15% over here. And now is where we need to be really careful. So we used already this 15. We haven't used this 20, right? We need to know, is the 20 the whole amount or is the 20 talking about a little part? So let's read it one more time. It says 20 is the 15% of what? So is it 20 gonna go right next to the whole, the 100, or is it gonna go to the little part, the 15? So where does it go? Where does that 20 goes? Is it the total amount of 20? Are we finding the 15% of 20? Or is it 20, the percent of something? Where are we going to place it? Numerator or denominator? Where are we going to place it? 20 is the 15%. So is it the whole amount right next to the 100? Or is it a little part right next to the 15?
A little part.
A little part. Very good, Daniel. So it goes over here because it says 20 is the 15%. In Spanish, 20 es el 15%. So it is a little part of what amount? I don't know. So I'm going to use a variable. What variable? Whichever variable you want. In this case, I'm going to use a variable n. And again, we're going to do cross product. So means with means and extremes with extremes. And what do I have? I've got now 15n, because 15 times n is 15n, equals to 20 times 100. So 20 times 100. I pass the 15 before doing anything else to the other side, dividing. And I'm going to say n is equal to 20 times 100, everything divided by 15. Now I use cross simplification, and I'm going to use the smallest number because I know that I can simplify 20 and 15, but I also know that I can simplify 115. So I'm going to use the smallest ones, 20 and 15. By what number am I dividing them? I'm dividing them both by 5. Okay, and I get n is equal to 20 divided by 5, that's 4, times 100. Because 100, I'm not doing anything. Since I didn't have no zeros in the denominator, I cannot cancel the zeros either. Over 15 divided by 5, 3. Now go ahead and multiply, because I cannot simplify 4 and 3, and I cannot simplify 103. So I'm going to say 400 divided by 3. So n is equal to, how much is 400 divided by 3? 400 divided by 3 is 133.33. So 20 is the 15% of 133.33. Questions? No questions, we're good. Okie dokie. What is today's topic? What's the name of today's topic? It's easy peasy breezy, lemon squeezy. What is today's topic?
Percents.
Percents. Very
Percentages.
good. Percentages or percents. Very, very good. And that would be today's topic. Question whatsoever about this topic? Easy peasy breezy, lemon squeezy. Okay, then this is the topic for today.